Hello everyone and welcome to today's cryptocurrencies update. Let's get started because rallies do what rally do best, and that is rally. We are marching higher and I expect a little bit of a short-term pullback based on very overbought conditions because as you remember, when everybody has bought, only selling is left, but the charts look very strong, so expect further upside after the pullback. So let's start with Ethereum and showing the traffic light charts, which I haven't maybe showed in a while. Just to show you that we got the breakouts. We got the breakout above 3,000 and above about 3,200. So those are now support levels. And the chart is now almost fully green, except for the 200-day moving average. 4 out of 5 are green. So as you can see, the breakout happened, and those are your triggers. If you see breakouts, those are, of course, trigger levels that then, of course, must hold. So that's good. And those are now support levels. I like the fact that the RSI 14 is rather overbought. That is a sign of strength because it is a strength indicator. This is weakness. Compare this with where we are now. So the diagonal has completed and we have already moved back to the start of the diagonal. This is quite typical normal behavior. It doesn't matter if the diagonal is pointing down, which is a bullish diagonal, or pointing up. Once it completes, expect price to move back to the start of the diagonal, which in this case is, of course, right here. And it has done so. All right. That's what I said. It's a possible diagonal. That's the condition. And you will have to wait for the signal, which is the breakout. Okay. It just because we have a pattern doesn't mean it will fulfill its destiny, so to say. It needs to trigger, and triggering it did by having the breakouts. All right, all these breakouts happened one after the other, back above the moving averages. And again, the 200-day moving average is, of course, resistance. It doesn't show on a closing basis, but in the next chart it will. We have continued upside in the technical indicators. Look how strong the money flow is. That is a little bit of a concern in the sense of a shorter term possible pullback, but I also like it because this is the strongest reading we've seen in a while. And clearly support is now at 3,000, 3,100. Okay, very simple. Traffic light is almost green. It went from full on red to almost green. And yes, January, February, all the way into March was not easy. Most cryptocurrencies went sideways for about 2 months. I was anticipating this bounce, as I've anticipated since January, to occur a little bit faster. But I don't make the markets. I'm not a market timer. The market does what it wants to do. And all it does with going sideways, because this is essentially a sideways pattern. Yes, it is diagonally, but again, we've been sideways for a long time, is teach us patience. Patience is a virtue. Wait for the trigger and then act on it. That's all we need to do. That's trading, very simple. Don't have to anticipate it. You don't have to nail the tops and the bottoms to make money. The trend is your friend. That's why I say the trend is your friend chart. That's where the money is made. Then looking at actual price, Elliott wave counts and all that stuff. Here we have the A, the B, and the C wave now underway, which is subdividing in smaller C waves. It can become 5 waves. It doesn't have to be. If this is a bounce, it's going to be 3 waves, and most of the time it's threes everywhere, but maybe a 5th wave somewhere baked in. I'm not going to worry too much about those smaller details. That is just potato, forest versus trees. What matters is that we've broken above resistance 2750 already, then 365, and now 3385, and can now target 3690. Remember the target zones. We're right now in the target zones. We are already at the lower end of the red and black target zone. So technically, we've done enough. Based on Elliott wave, we've done enough. We've reached, as you can see here, the overlap of the black, the red, and the green target zones. What do they mean? It is 3 different wave degrees. Black B, red C, green C, minor, intermediate, major, and we should expect something of a top for this black wave B, because this is green C of red C, etc., to top somewhere here. So technically we've done enough. But again, as I pointed out, the RSI 5 is quite strong, of 14. Compare that to the summer of last year. It often means we see a pullback, sideways consolidation is fine as well, and then a move higher. Same here for money flow. It's extremely overbought. Everybody has bought Ethereum, so expect some sort of a sideways congestion to pullback, just like we had here in August before moving higher. The MACD is pointing higher. It's not pointing lower. This is lower. This is higher. So we have to anticipate higher prices. So I still think we can reach into the 3,700 to 4,300 zone. Okay, that's really what I'm looking for. We do need to clear, of course, these this lower resistance line. It's a little arbitrary, but we'll keep it in here. And for now, we have reached the upper support level, or it was resistance, it's now support clearly. Okay, if it doesn't hold, it can easily fall back to the breakout level. Okay, don't be surprised if that's the case, but I do expect continuation after that. Bitcoin, same for Bitcoin. We were waiting for it to break above 42,500 and then above 44,300. We got all that. Excellent. Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. I cannot say it often enough. So those are now, of course, all support levels, because remember, we've been stuck in this box between, what did we say? It was about there to here. This was the box we've been stuck in between 44,300 and 34,300. Okay. Excellent breakout. And don't be surprised if we do a retest of the breakout. Right now, Bitcoin is stalling at the 200-day moving average. If this is indeed a true bear market, a retest of the 200-day moving average is 9 out of 10 times always on tap. Okay, it's like a kind of like a market trying to see if it wants to go back above the 200-day, yes or no. Again, you can use these moving averages for your simple trading strategies. Buy on a close above it, sell on a close below it, all you need to do. Same for the MACD, full stochastic, whatever you want to use. Okay, there is so many ways to trade. There's so many ways to make money. It's just simply not funny anymore. But here we are. We have the technical breakout, and as I've said many times before, ideally we should now target 54,300. We're definitely not there yet. We're getting close. We've already reached almost 48,000, so that's good. But I expect still higher prices. Now, as you can see, similar to Ethereum, we are now reaching the initial upside target of about 48,000 on Bitcoin, which is the lower end of this C-wave target zone. It's a little bit short of, I would say, the lower end of the ideal B-wave target zone, which can be 38.2%. So, but ideally, this is what we like to see. And it's a little bit short of the ideal wave C target zone here in black. Again, we have 3 different wave degrees. And again, as you can see here, there is fantastic Fibonacci overlap at 54,616, 55,278, and 55,257. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than this on a percent error basis. I know fools, idiots, naive, delusional people always want to have it exactly, sorry, but it's really true. Want to get it exactly to the dollar. It's impossible. You got to give the market a couple of dollars of a break, okay? And I think based on the strength of the technical indicators that we should see higher prices, I would really like to see divergence kick in for the next C wave lower. Bigger picture wise, still uncertain what exactly is transpiring. So far, we've done 3 waves lower, and as usual, after 3 waves lower, expect at the minimum 3 waves back up. And yes, January, February, and early March were not easy. Rally, drop, rally, drop. It happens. Okay, this is why we got to stick through the program. This is why we sometimes have to sit through a couple of losses, because you know, this is such a blast off. You think, okay, we're getting started, and no, we didn't. But honestly, I remember I told folks that we can drop even below the January low and still rally higher. It's absolutely possible, because B waves of B waves are the most unpredictable price action you can imagine. And yeah, you'll get slapped and whipsawed and dragged behind the shed, beaten up, all that stuff. That's just the way it goes. But now we got the breakout. Now it's much easier trading. And if you have difficulties trading, sign up for my crypto trading alert service. The trading alert service went long Ethereum and Bitcoin March 16th and hasn't looked back since, scaling out already. House money, quarter of a position left. Easy peasy, super easy. Cardano, all right, the blast from the past, rallying still continuously nicely. I expect an A, a B, and a C. It would kind of fit with what I'm seeing for Ethereum and Bitcoin as well, a short-term pullback and then a continuation of the rally. Let's look at Avalanche. Avalanche finally broke out above 90. It did so yesterday. It retested today successfully and is moving higher. So far this is good. As long as we hold 90, I mean, that's still not a given that we won't. There are no guarantees. But as long as we hold this 90 on a closing basis, that's what I'm looking for. Not this intraday, but closing basis. We should be able to move higher. Money flow looks pretty good. MACD looks pretty good. RSI 14 looks pretty good. It's all pointing higher. That's what I'm looking for. And of course, we have a traffic light that is full on green, right? We're above the 200-day, 50-day, all those good things, all right? When a instrument is above the cloud, above the 200-day, above the 50-day, 9 out of 10 times good things happen. Just like we had here in October, November, good things happen. You get below it, bad things tend to happen, all right? It's all about odds game. Doesn't mean we get good. And it's not about catching these lows here. This was very frustrating price action. It's just been stuck in this triangle. And again, the symmetry target is 110 to 125-ish. All right, moving on to Binance Coin. This one is ripping as well. Very nice. We cleared the initial resistance here at 395, I believe it was. Then we cleared 415. And ultimately, we need to clear the 200-day moving average to turn even more bullish. But again, the traffic light is 4 out of 5 green. Strong RSI 14, strong MACD, strong money flow. So also here, I would not be surprised to see some sort of a short-term pullback and then higher prices. Okay, most of the time we want to see negative divergence develop. Doesn't have to, but that often tells us then, okay, expect some sort of a pullback larger than just a overbought pullback. So we have not cleared the 200-day moving average yet. Then we can turn much more bullish, just like Ethereum and Bitcoin haven't done so. But so far, so good, right? It is nicely progressing. And let's have a look in more detail at the actual candles. All right, remember, Binance Coin was stuck here between a rock and a hard place for most of this year. So this is where people kind of quit. It's like, wow, if you don't have an attention span longer than a mosquito, you know, this is not your game, right? This is not your game. If you have and are patient, you get to finally get good upside. We got the breakout, and look, 430 is holding as support for the last 3 days. So critical, it needs to hold it, okay? But we're moving away from it, that's good. Now the initial resistance here is about 465, and then we should target 500. Everything is pointing higher, okay? Everything is pointing higher. I see nothing is pointing lower. So even though we might get a short-term pullback, even though we might even drop below 430 once again, this still looks like it wants to go higher. I have no indication this wants to go lower. Nothing doesn't say it wants to go lower, other than maybe a short-term pullback before we can move higher again. Luna, this one broke out finally. Again, the breakout can target 125 based on simple symmetry, but based on the triangle that I had on the chart, I was looking for about 115. So 115, 125, and we're getting very close. We already reached 111. So if anything, maybe you want to start cashing in some chips. Traffic light is entirely green, fantastic. The dips have been bought, and I can now update the wave count a little bit because this was, of course, the question on Monday, I believe it was, if this was 5 or that was 5. Well, we now know it. That was not 5, that was just 3. So we're going to update the wave count like this. So, and then this is some sort of weird fourth wave. As you can see here, fourth waves can be quite ugly. This is probably some sort of triangle type of, like this, triangular type of wave. Don't ask me what it is, like A, B, C, sure. And then this was 3, and then this was 4, and this was the 1, and this was 2, and then this was 1, and this was 2, and these are then smaller, even smaller first and second waves, okay? So that is how we go about, we anticipate and we track it and see if the wave degree is correct, yes or no. And that is then 2, and then this down day is 3. preferably, right? We always, or the down day is 4, the top before it is, of course, 3. And then we update this accordingly. Nice, I like it. So this looks pretty good. And that should then complete this larger, potentially larger fifth wave. Could also be 1 or 5 to be determined. It has to drop all the way below this low here in the 40s to finally confirm this level. But for now, it looks good. We got the breakout, fantastic. That was what we were looking for. Wave count updated, looks good. Moving on, Solana, how are we doing on Solana? Solana broke out initially here above the 100 level, I believe I had 100 right there, and is now breaking out above the 115 level. Looking at the technical indicators, strong, because this is a strength indicator. It's strong, it's not weak. Looking at the MACD, it's trying to get back above 0, strong. Money flow looks very good. Money flow is kind of akin to where we were here. Okay, look at that. It's kind of similar. Look at the upside potential. Also here, once it's very overbought, get some sort of pullback before it rips higher. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that's what's going to happen. Then I'll show you the bigger picture wave count. But again, we're below the 200-day moving average. So please keep that in mind, that here we were above it. So the chart setup is a little bit different. Again, we had the diagonal and we've already reached to the beginning of the diagonal. That is always when it breaks out, not always, but that's what you expect. And of course, we are now breaking above these levels as well. So that's good. Those are the conditions and they need to trigger, and they triggered all of them elegantly. I like it. So I'm looking higher on Solana. Updated that one. How high? Well, remember we had this, I would say this is a ascending or descending triangle, one of the two, excuse me. It's just where you have I think it's a descending it's a descending triangle. Normally it's bearish, but it resolves itself bullishly, meaning we have similar lows, but lower highs, meaning the sellers will step in at earlier and earlier or lower and lower levels, which is bearish. But they never were able to get Solana below 80, 79. Then we broke above it, starting to negate this bearish triangle. Yes, it is descending, that's what it is. And it started to move above 95. Remember, 95 was the critical level. Well, my crypto trading alert system or crypto trading system gave an alert. It went long when it got above 95 and might define profits already, taking some profits off the table. Why? Because we're still below the 200-day moving average. Okay, that still has then to be interpreted as just a bounce until proven otherwise. Okay, it's not about being bold and brave. It's about trying to make money, and being conservative is the best way to go about. Now, then we have, of course, 115 as resistance, and that has now also turned into support. I like it. That is bullish. When the resistance levels are turned into support, that is bullish. And we've held 95, and then we held again 105 almost for 3 days in a row. So that is now critical support. If we don't hold 105, we go back to 95. Very simple, right? Of course, 115 is the first level of support right now. This is then the symmetry target we're looking for. This is the width of the triangle from the base to the maximum or the start. And then we add that to the breakout level. And as you can see, that targets somewhere around 130 with resistance at around 127. Okay, it's all about plus or minus a little bit, but that's okay. If we get above 127, it can easily target 150. But again, we are still on track very nicely. This is really a chart that grinds higher very nicely once it broke out. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. No wonder then that my crypto system kept staying long. It did sell into the strength, but locking in the profits. But it's a good gain, 10% for today. Not bad. Polygon or Matic. Also here, the possible diagonal, and it's starting to grind slowly higher. It's still not above the resistance levels. Okay, the traffic light is slowly turning a little bit more green, but this is really, I would say, the ugly duck of the crypto family. It's not there yet, but we have all these divergences. So far, the condition has been met. We have to break out, and therefore, simply also based on a little more complicated analysis, Here we have the triangle, the width of the triangle, similar as Solana, all right, it's similar. If I would take the wicks out, we would get pretty much exactly the same type of, the wicks are these intraday spikes, so right, so most of the time, this one has remained above what level this is, about 145. So if we just don't consider these intraday wicks, but look at closing prices and where most of the time prices resided, then you can do simply something like this, the same here, and then we add it to the breakout, and it gets us right in the target zone. So my ideal target zone is anywhere between 205 and 220. That remains inside, but of course we need to break above the 200-day moving average. That was the last line of defense, I would say, for the bears. It's trying, but so far it's not working. So we gotta wait for the breakout, so to say, to confirm that this is really the upside target. But so far, this is the potential that's in the chart. I see no reason to turn bearish. That would be a break back below 145. Okay. Again, everything else looks strong and pointing up. All right, and that's Bitcoin, all done with that one. So that's covered everything. Awesome. Marching through it like crazy. Household items, please read. Many ways to make money, many ways for me to help you out. I want you to make money. I can't guarantee the highest of profits, but nobody can guarantee that. But you know, it is all in everybody's favor to make a little bit of money. That's what we're in here. All right, bottom line. As I showed you, most of the traffic lights, which are based on where prices in relation to the moving averages, are either fully green now or most of 4 out of 5 green. It's go time. This is a pretty strong trend. And finally, the upside targets are being reached. And finally, the B-wave bounce that I anticipated for Bitcoin and Ethereum already since late January is filling in. I would have liked it to be earlier. I thought it would be earlier, but we got these spikes and drops, the A and the B waves, and those are unfortunate. It scares a lot of people out of the cryptocurrencies, but if you stick with it, it shows patience, and that patience is a virtue when it comes to these type of assets. In stock markets, everything, it always pays off. It always pays off. Focus on the forest, not the trees. And every trader, every trading system will go through rough patches, dry patches. It's not working, getting whipsawed, all that stuff. But that's why you, for example, use small size positions when a instrument is below its 200-day moving average. Risk management. And then you'll see if it finally catches on, you'll get a break and you'll be back to break even. Remember, it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Even the best traders have not only made profits. It is impossible. That's not how the markets work. Anyway, Cardano should reach 120, 130. I expect this pullback, wave B, and then another rally. Avalanche, breakout. It held 90 support, 110, 130 is next, getting close already. Binance Coin, also a breakout. It held 430, it should now be on its way to 500, with, of course, intraday scribbles, drips of drops and that type of stuff. But that's just intricate minor details. Breakout on Bitcoin, still looking for 54,000. I do expect a short-term pullback because the clock is so overbought and needs to be reset. Maybe back to 44,300, who knows? Would be a classic way to go about, by the way. And maybe some fakies where it rams through a couple of stops to 44,000 and then reverses. Breakout on Ethereum as well. It should now target 3,500. It's trying to clear 3385, so that's good. It already has reached the lower end of the target zones, the minor green one, the red intermediate one, and the black B1. So it has technically done enough. However, the technical indicators suggest more upside because they're so strong, quite overbought, just like Bitcoin. So we might see a short-term pullback before moving higher. And the support levels, of course, all need to hold, which are clearly on the charts. Luna, breakout, 115 next. We got to 111. So we're getting very close. Chart does continue to look strong, but please remember we're getting closer to some potential upside targets based on Elliott wave, symmetry, all that good stuff. Matic or Polygon, also a breakout. It's back above the 50-day. It's still in the cloud, so this one is still kind of being dragged along with the other ones. It really needs to get back above the 200-day to target 205 to 220, but Just like Solana, which I'm going to cover last, it really looks like it wants to do that because Solana already broke out from the triangle 2 weeks ago, broke above 95 last week, if not 2 weeks ago, and that was the trigger to reach 130. Okay, and so far so good. I think we're now at 110, something like that. So we're doing mighty fine on that one. All the triggers have worked, and remember, those are always we're at 120 already. So we're getting very close on Solana also as well. Remember, we all had those conditions in the charts that needed to be met by getting the trigger, the breakouts, and they finally happened, and voila, most upside targets are within reach. Now the support levels need to hold, and I expect further upside after a short-term pullback as long as those support levels hold. So with that, thank you so much for listening. Take care, trade safe. See you all on Friday. Bye.